Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Struggle City podcast. Today we have David,
Abby,
Pat,
Me.
Casey, the dickhead.
Yeah.
Today, want to welcome a new resident, Abby.
hi.
We're going to be talking about what we think is the best villains, or what we consider to be the best villains, and why. Who wants to start off?
You can start off, because then did I start books?
Yeah.
I started books, so you can start, because you started the second round of books.
All right. Well, I'll start off on. Are we going to do like a round robin? We'll do one, and then we'll go around.
Yeah, more or less.
All right.
Or
We'll
no,
do that.
I'll just interrupt you every time, because that's what I do.
Hi, Mom.
Or no, we should probably establish what we think makes a good villain.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense.
Because that feels like a solid thing.
All right, so everyone go around and give like one or two traits about what you think a good villain makes, or if you agree with somebody else. I guess we'll start with Casey on this one, and then I'll start off the list.
Alright, that's fine. Hang on.
Podcasting makes Casey gassy.
No, drinking on an empty stomach makes me gassy. Alright, so, to make a good villain, I think they need to have confidence in not only themselves, but their abilities and in what they believe in. Because otherwise, what's the point of being a villain? Also, they need to have a really good backstory or some kind of solid motivation behind their goal or their mission.
Yeah.
And on like a more personal note, I like it when they're kind of multifaceted, when they're not just a villain, but they have interests and hobbies. Kind of fleshing them out and making them multi-dimensional.
Okay. Similar to Hannibal.
Exactly. And I also like it when the villain is, like, ostensibly much stronger or more experienced than the hero. Because that's more interesting.
Okay.
I stole it.
Yeah.
that was actually something I was going to say.
I
They got to be
don't know.
stronger, because if they're stronger, then it's not really predictable knowing how it's going to turn out.
Right.
Because a lot of bad things can happen
Fucking fucknuts.
in between, like them being introduced and the hero ultimately being. But sometimes that doesn't even happen. I also think they have to be unpredictable.
Yeah, it's almost like an additional wall that the hero needs to overcome is the
Right.
actual villains outskilling them.
Yes. Like in almost every facet.
Yeah.
Which is actually
Except maybe
one
more.
example I'm going to use. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Although in some cases that makes the villain a little bit more interesting.
I actually prefer villains where you don't know what their motivations are, just because it scares you more. You don't know what they're trying to do. You just know that they're doing it.
And it's just a thing.
Right.
It's hard. I feel like it's harder to like or associate with them in that case.
Yeah. That's true. But it also...
Because otherwise, you might as well just enjoy a natural disaster.
True,
Just pure chaos.
but
Yeah.
they're cool when they're humanoid natural disasters.
I enjoy that, yeah.
I think a good villain needs to have like motivation and a plan. If they actually achieve their goal, I feel like that makes them a better villain than most.
Is that it? That's all your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Everyone else.
I'm just making sure. I don't want to cut anybody off.
Don't cut us off.
But yeah, I pretty much agree with what everyone else said. You both said it really well. Especially the more experienced. The almost bringing the villain down onto a relatable level, similar to some of the more popular Marvel villains nowadays are like he's got a point. He's not right in the way he's approaching it, but he's got a point.
I don't know about that, because then in that case, I like it when they're so ridiculously unhuman, but at the same time they're very human.
Yeah.
Like less Killmonger, more Thanos.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
like on like a
Because Killmonger,
global, like galaxy level
yeah,
of
because
insanity.
unpopular opinion Friday, Killmonger wasn't a good villain.
He wasn't that great of a villain compared to maybe some of the other Marvel.
Yes.
His motivations were relatable, but his actual, like, I couldn't really,
Like his attitude.
I didn't
and his,
feel any danger coming off of him.
No.
I just
No.
felt sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of pain, and that came through.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'll kick off who I consider to be a great villain. I'm gonna kick it off with a TV/novel villain.
Okay.
The Beast from the Magician's novel and TV series.
Solid choice.
Yeah, everything about him, the motivation, his backstory is amazing.
The fact that he's such a fucking theater nerd.
Yeah, it's
Loved
great. And it's one of those few cases where the TV show enhances the bad guy.
Oh yeah, because you get none of the depth or personality in the book.
No. And who plays him in?
Oddly
don't
enough,
even
a
know.
theater actor.
Really?
I think
Makes sense.
if because I did look it up because I was trying to remember who I like where I knew him from, and I think he just did a lot, like maybe some bit roles here and there in film and TV, but I think he was primarily a stage actor, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Charles Monsieur.
Oh, you fancy, son.
He has a nice last name.
Monsieur.
It doesn't look like he was really in anything other than The Magician, so I think you're right. It's just a lot of stage. But it
Ooh,
really came
you got that
through.
on record. Miss can know I'm right.
Yeah, it's on record. When she's listening to this, she'll know.
Yeah.
In March. But yeah, everything about the Beast is just awesome. He's like a good example of what trauma can do to a child, and what that manifests when that child gains some sense of power and stability. You know, he found that through magic, and he just took that and ran to the point where he had 6 fingers on each hand. So it was just pure chaos.
And
it
a
was
face full of
beautiful.
moths.
Yes. I love that. In the books and in the TV series, you didn't know who he was right away, but you had a kind of a feeling, you know, who it was. And, whatchamacallit? It was like a slow reveal to his identity throughout the series.
So well done, so well timed.
Both Lee Grossman and the team on The Magicians on Sci-Fi did a great job with that.
Although once I found out that the guy that the author of the Fillory books
Oh, yeah.
was he was like the father on The Nanny, kind of broke the illusion. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah. That show with Fran Drescher, he was
Yeah.
the dad.
That's...
It breaks
Wow.
the illusion.
Huh.
I mean, he's
All
still a child diddler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
2 episodes in a row.
Oh my god. So this is 2 episodes we've gone without calling Miss a racist.
Well, she's
Yeah,
not here.
She's not here, so we
Missy,
can't.
you're racist as shit. There we go.
No,
She's
you're
not even here to defend herself.
All right.
But I can hear her shrieking.
Yeah.
I also put down that he always kind of feels like a threat, like the entire time, even though the reason why he was able to break into Breakables is because of Alice and Quentin's magic doing.
Yes.
And I only put those 2 because I don't remember who did it in the books, but I know that Penny and his girlfriend at the time, they also helped out in the ritual to
Yes.
summon Alice's brother.
Yeah, Katie.
Katie. That's it.
How can you forget Katie?
I remember her face. I don't remember her name. But I really like that constant threat. Like he was always overlooking.
Yes, because he was constantly present. Like
Yeah.
there was always the worry that the beast will find us.
Yeah,
We're guarded so the beast can't find us.
I mean, like in the TV shows, it's what 40 times.
He finds them really easy,
Yeah, it's just another
Like-
song and dance.
like easier than Bill Cosby could find a date in a coma ward.
But yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about the Beast. I love him and his entire character in that show and how they dealt with it, and they elegantly handled everything about him, and the use of magic too. They really gave him almost like a godlike control without turning him into a god.
He may as well have been a god.
Yeah, he was right on that cusp,
Mhm.
but he still felt human enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was. Once you found out his backstory, he became relatable, and you always feel like sympathy for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
super sympathetic.
It was great.
But then he would just break out into song in the middle of nothing, and that would
whistling.
honestly terrify you more than anything
Yes.
else.
The
Because
whistling
what's
and the
fucking
steps.
next? Yeah.
those steps, and that I guess that's where his theater experience came through.
Yeah.
Was just the way he was able to present himself on camera, and just the whistling was absolutely like chilling, and the two-step that he would do.
Yes.
That was my favorite. I
Like,
found myself
perfect.
doing it through the hallways at school occasionally.
Of course you would.
Because I'm a fucking weirdo. But, yeah.
That's a good one. I didn't even consider the Beast.
He's the reason why I brought this up.
Right, but like I mentioned, like I had such an issue going through because I thought of so many.
I'm gonna go to the right, I guess. And we'll end on Casey.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sure.
I'm fine with that.
Mine's a little bit more mainstream, I guess. I was gonna talk about Scar.
Someone's got to bring up the line.
Yes, I always got to bring up Disney.
Just because I feel like overall he's just a great villain. He kills his own brother. I mean, obviously everybody probably knows the Lion King, but he has motivation. He actually goes through with it. He actually is able to kill his own brother.
Yeah.
Most other Disney villains don't actually succeed
No,
in
a lot
what
of
they're
wishes.
trying to do. I feel like his only downfall is putting that job on the hyenas to kill Simba. If he had done it himself, he would have been solid.
Yeah, I agree. His delegation was his strong point.
Power thirst.
Very power thirsty, and anyone he could boss around, he totally jumped right onto that and leached their life forces away. Promise of food, destroying the prairie, or not the prairie,
The prairie?
The African
Savannah.
prairie.
I mean,
technically.
so
I mean, yeah.
so here's the thing. I've never seen Lion King.
Get on that. Yeah, I think you would like it.
I've only just started watching Disney movies, and according to Miss, I'm not allowed to watch anymore because I hated Fox and the Hound.
That's not that. It's not even like top 20.
It's
No.
like Kitty Hamlet.
Yeah.
The
Basically.
Lion King.
Yeah.
Well, like even kitty is too like kitty of a word for it.
Mm.
Because like it is kitty, but like.
When I
Well,
say
yeah,
kitty,
there's
I mean
lots of
K-I-T-T-Y.
kitties. There's lots of kitties.
Meow. Meow.
You killed my uncle!
What?
Dad.
It was his dad.
My uncle's my father.
Dad's my uncle.
Bob's my uncle.
But yeah, I mean, Scar is definitely one of the top Disney villains, I would say, easily. Like, of old school
Yeah.
Disney, it's like there's no competition.
And
Ursula is pretty
he
good.
kind of fits into what I think Pat was saying earlier of the villain being more like
Motivated.
smarter than like
Smarter
hero.
than the hero. Yeah.
because he like manipulates Simba basically the whole time.
Is that really smarter? Because that's like you're fucking with a child.
Well, even when Simba comes back, Simba like second guesses himself.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's, I would say, a master manipulator. He was very good at getting into everyone's heads. Because even though the lionesses weren't exactly on his side, he was still able to control them to a degree.
Okay.
They hunted until they destroyed their own home
Yeah,
under Scar's control. So,
It's like a lion Hitler.
basically.
I mean, they did include
Littler.
that entire
the
scene.
entire musical number with the hyenas.
Yes.
That was like right out of a history reel.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play that in a history class and it would be exactly the same.
Like, wait.
Wait, that was a hyena. Nope. That was
That
the
was-
Nazi regime.
That's the SS.
They can stop him.
Okay, so first one that comes to my mind is one that I've kind of discovered recently in the Spider-Man comics. Kind of appeared in the early 2000s, like right around 9/11. His name's Morlun.
I thought you were going to say Osama.
No, Morlun is bad fucking ass. He kind of comes out of nowhere and he's looking for Peter Parker, but he doesn't know exactly that he's looking for Peter Parker yet. Because he kind of feeds off of people's power to stay immortal. He's almost like a vampire, but he doesn't suck blood.
He
Sucks like energy, sort of.
That's cool.
And then once Spider-Man runs into him, he fucking annihilates him. Like, just beats him almost to death, like, a lot of times.
Who beats him?
Morlun.
Spider-Man beats Morlun, or Morlun beats
Morlun
Spider-Man?
beats Spider-Man
Okay.
several times.
Like Bane's introduction in Nightfall.
It's exactly like that,
okay.
except probably not as well done.
Well, Nightfall isn't that well done.
Yeah, but it's pretty much just Spider-Man trying to figure out how to beat him. And I don't remember off the top of my head how he does it, but he
That's
eventually does. There's several comics, though. Like, it's a whole arc where he's just repeatedly getting his shit kicked in and trying to figure out why. And you don't really ever see him in a lot of other instances, him getting crushed like that. So it's just interesting to see Spider-Man as vulnerable as he is because of this villain.
Yeah, finally
And that's
brought down
kinda-
from that pedestal.
Right, and that kind of ties into my point that Casey and I made about, like, the villain being so much more powerful than the hero, because it really makes you wonder what the hell is going to happen next. I didn't think he was going to beat him. I thought it was going to end, like,
In like a tie.
he just
almost.
runs away, and it fizzles out.
Does he get a MacGuffin to beat him?
It's this really complicated story where there's this guy that has his powers, Spider-Man.
Ben Ryan.
His name's Eli or something,
Mm.
and he helps him beat him. And I forget exactly how they do it, but they do it together,
Okay.
and it was really cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Usually in that instance when the villain is so much stronger, then in comes a MacGuffin or some kind of Deus Ex thing.
Yeah.
There.
and that was Eli. He, I think he's from the future or something, and
Okay,
he
that's
just
fine.
knew kind of how
That's
to
fine.
do it.
Spider-Man's weird like that,
yeah.
where
Yeah.
stuff like that is
Well,
acceptable.
as soon as you get some kind of future talk, it's like
But it's just the way he beat the crap out of Spider-Man repeatedly is the reason I liked him so much. Like, his character is kind of lacking. There's really no motivation there other than he just wants the power. But it's just the way that he goes about doing it that's crazy.
Yeah, there's that unsurmountable. Can't speak. You know what
you
I'm
never
saying?
can.
No. But like there's this wall in the way, and he just can't. He just keeps punching it, and it's not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Like, I remember one of the stills. I think I sent it to you once. It was that picture where Spider-Man's laying on the bed with all his clothes off.
Yes.
And he's got the costume next,
Mhm.
and May is holding it in her hands.
Yeah.
It was actually a part of that story.
That's
He-
a scene. That's a scene that's been recurred.
Yeah, but I think that was like one of the first times.
Mhm.
He's laying on the bed after he beats him, all
Mhm.
types of torn up, and she comes to visit him, and she sees his torn up costume sitting next to him on the bed, and that's how the comic ends. Is she's got his costume in her hands, and he's
Huh.
laying there like in a coma on the bed.
Lovely.
So it starts off really cool. He gets really fucked up in the middle, and then it ends like on that note, and it's just one of the best Spider-Man arcs I've ever read.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I need to start reading comics.
It's really good.
I need to start reading again.
Stop. Don't start with comics because comics are a mess.
Comics, especially Marvel,
Like
is
what a
nightmare.
potpourri of
Because
quality.
by now, none of that even matters because
I
it got
gotta
retconned.
finish- I gotta finish Dresden first, though.
Yes,
you
you
know?
do. No, you're not even close to finishing Dresden. Because
Yeah.
you're
There's like what 13 books,
15,
15.
not
A couple
including
of-
not including collections of short stories.
Jesus.
Huh. All right.
My turn. So my first villain is my own personal hero, Hannibal Lecter. Specifically, the Mads Mikkelsen version from the TV show,
Yeah.
because I will argue that he is the best Hannibal.
Yeah. 100%.
Because not only does he do a better job of portraying Hannibal, he makes Hannibal actually interesting and not just this weird caricature that Anthony Hopkins does.
Yeah. He's way more than just a serial killer.
He's threatening.
Very
Yeah.
chilling.
He is a
He's
legitimate predator, and underneath that, he is an intellectual. He is an artist. He is a chef. He is
Yeah.
a doctor, and all that comes through, despite the fact he fucking eats people.
And there's almost like a sense of like you're comfortable with him almost because he is so good at his job.
Because because he's a psychologist, but he's also got one of the crucial aspects that I need for a villain in that he has some kind of sympathetic backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, because he grew up during World War II, escaping from Lithuania, him and his sister running through the woods trying to escape Nazi sympathizers happen to come across some who have gone fucking insane from the war, from being lost in the woods. They capture the two of them, they kill and eat his sister in front of him. And feed his sister to him.
Huh.
Yes.
I only jumped onto the series after I started dating her. So, this is news to me.
This is wild. Yes. So, I'm not saying that it totally explains his psychosis and his wanting to eat people, but you kind of understand
Yeah.
where he broke.
there's a point in time where his brain snapped.
Yeah.
And something just wasn't right.
Right. And especially towards the third season where you're introduced to Red Dragon, you get way more invested in his character, in his darkness, because that's when you really start to see his puppetries, his machinations at work.
Yeah.
You've seen the Hobbit movies, right?
Mhm.
Thorin Oakenshield,
Mhm.
Richard Armitage, plays Red Dragon.
Really?
And he's awesome.
Because Ray Fiennes played a pretty good one in the movie. But that
See,
movie was weird.
For me, he played Red Dragon like Forrest Gump.
A little bit, yeah. It was a little too, like, Jedi.
Yeah,
Wasn't
but,
really
but
known. what
Richard
was going
Armitage
on.
plays it like
Sophisticated.
no, not sophisticated. He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Like
I really need to watch that.
unrepentantly
Yeah, you never
a
finished watching it?
monster.
I never
So,
started
like,
watching
okay, so it's less childlike and
Yeah.
more like, I'm going to rip your face off.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Whilst I'm trying to transform and become the Red Dragon.
Hey, Case, you got that series too?
I do.
Hey, Case, you gonna be home for dinner? So about the Red Dragon.
The Flying Gushing Dragon of Bismarck. Where did I leave off? I completely lost my train of thought.
About the Red Dragon and
So,
playing like
yeah.
a child.
Yeah, Richard Armitage does a much better job of it, but Hannibal, in general, is an amazing villain because he admits that he messes up and he fixes his mistakes and he never repeats them.
Yeah. I mean, Hannibal in general is a fantastic, character.
Yeah.
And the portrayal of that on the TV show is, like you said, is probably the best.
It's more layered. It's more. You get more dimensions out of it because for Silence of the Lambs, for Hannibal, you only see him in the prison cell,
Yeah.
and that's severely limiting. As good as Silence of the Lambs is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And it's a shame that they ended up canceling the show too.
Don't even get me started.
I know, it's a shame. Because I had just started watching it.
It's a
And,
legit cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit.
Legit cliffhanger. Because season 4 would have been Silence of the Lambs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think they could have outdone the movie.
Oh,
I could've.
easily.
Yeah, that was not that good of a movie.
It's a good movie.
There's
Solid.
It's one of the few instances that it's better than the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
So fun fact: Jonathan Demme, director of Silence of the Lambs, did Beloved.
Huh.
Yeah,
He worked with Oprah.
It explains the Oprah piss.
it does.
What?
I ate her liver.
Making you thirsty, Dave?
I ate her liver with some fava beans
And some Oprah
and,
piss.
and a nice carafe of her piss.
Alright then. Alright, so I guess it's my
She
turn
hates-
for the
she
next
hates
one.
people. Yes.
Alright. I guess I'll go on to a little bit more of a vague one. Well, not so vague, but Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. Not so much him as the villain wasn't really all that interesting. Like the actual Vulture character.
'Cause that was almost secondary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't even matter. He was a father first, and that's what made it dynamic and interesting. It gave him a backstory. It gave him a reason why. I also like. I really enjoy superhero having repercussions for actions that they have done in previous films.
Okay.
So it was kind of like them feeling the repercussion of the destruction of New York from the first Avengers movie, because what was the name? Adrian Toomes. He was on a cleanup crew, cleaning out the alien waste and all that from the attack on New York from Loki, and the government came in and told him he can't do it anymore, so he lost his job, and it started him. It started an illegal business of him trying to collect this alien technology and selling it on the black market because he needed to make ends meet because he didn't have a job anymore. And I thought that was interesting, and that's kind of where it stopped with the Vulture character, and then it picked up again when Peter and Adrian were in the car with, was it Mary Jane?
No,
No.
Or was
No.
it Gwen? Or was
No.
it some other...
it was some other.
Okay.
Mary Jane is Zendaya, and that's in that
Oh,
universe.
yeah, it's Zendaya, right.
There's no Gwen Stacy that we know of.
Yeah.
I think her name's Liz. What's
Yeah, I
his
think
daughter?
it's Liz. But girl number one. Uh, the Little Tombs. I don't know. But when they're in the car and they're going to the dance at his high school, and they both realize who the other person is,
Oh, that's
that
great.
entire scene is so well
Heebie-jeebies.
orchestrated.
That's the only well-shot scene in that entire film.
Yeah, I agree. It is the most memorable too. It's so much tension is
Yeah.
built up. It almost felt like what's his name? I forget. I'm horrible with names. What the guy who played him?
Michael
Michael Keaton.
Batman.
It almost felt like he was back in the a Batman
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
And he was a superhero again, but he was just playing for the other team.
He does intensity very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Because that one scene is what made him
Yeah.
like a very memorable supervillain for me.
Villains with a paternal sense are really good because that's just an automatic
Yeah,
kind of sense of sympathy for them.
yeah. You see their family and all that.
Right, and you get the idea really easily that there's nothing that they'll do
Yeah.
to protect them, or even I try to think of like ones that are willing to go so far as to sacrifice their own family.
Thanos would be a
Yeah.
good off the top of the
Yeah.
head one, pushing Gamora off the cliff.
I feel like there's others.
Um,
Kind of the one that I'm going to bring up
Okay.
next.
Okay, well, we'll wait
Sort
until
of.
you.
Yeah.
Sort of.
All right, well,
We'll leave
we'll
it up.
jump on that.
Yeah.
All right. Abby?
Alright, I was gonna talk about Bellatrix a little bit, just because I feel like she's crazy. Like, she's literally
Yeah.
the epitome of evil, I feel like. Even more so than Voldemort in some cases, I feel. She kills one of the most probably beloved characters, I would say.
Yeah. Dobby?
Yeah. I don't know, just overall, her presence in the movies, and I never read the books personally.
The book,
But-
she's something else too,
About as bad. Yeah.
if not worse. She's also responsible for the torturing of Neville's parents too.
Doesn't she kill Sirius Black too?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
kills Sirius Black.
She's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
She kills everybody.
She's very chaotic neutral,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and whereas Voldemort's very set in chaotic bad.
I think he's almost like chaotic lawful. Like he's
Oh yeah,
almost
like
so,
he has a goal.
yeah, and he has a set of rules.
Yeah.
That he doesn't attempt to attack Harry until the end of the school year.
Right.
He cares about his education.
Bellatrix is just a natural
Oh, yeah.
disaster.
She's
Yeah.
just willing to do anything.
Yeah, she doesn't care. She also, I believe, she writes Mudblood in Hermione's arm
Yeah, she
Yeah.
carves it in her arm.
Yeah.
with the knife that kills Dobby.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
Metal. Very metal.
Yeah, the knife was made out of metal.
All right, we're done. I'm done. This
But
is the
yeah,
last episode.
that-
of
that's, that's not the only Harry Potter character that's going to come up here. I have another one.
Of course you know.
It's a good one.
Umbridge.
No,
Oh.
it's not.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
well.
No one likes her.
Umbridge is kind of unspoken.
That's a given.
Everyone knows everybody
Yeah.
knows Umbridge.
Okay.
Everybody knows an Umbridge.
Hmm.
Nutters.
He's worse
What if he
because
listens to this?
Oh,
Who cares?
I don't care.
fuck you, nutters.
Some ear candy for you.
ASMR.
Yeah. just start scratching something.
That's my skin.
Oh my god. Puts the lotion on my hands.
Or else it gets the nose again.
Alright, Pat.
Alright, so
your paternal.
my second one is Arlong from One Piece.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curveball.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know. I know he's in the series later. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
He's
But
not.
he's not?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Was he in filler then?
No.
He's definitely in it.
He no. His one arc is his
That's
one
it?
arc.
Well, it's the best arc in the series so far, and I'm right now. I just got done Emmy's Lobby.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're like
I'm very behind.
you haven't even hit the 2-year mark.
No.
Oh shit. Okay.
No, I'm in Thriller Bark right now. Anyway,
Wow.
he's amazing.
Okay.
Very intimidating
Super
from
racist.
jump. Very racist, but not in like a white-black type of way. More like a fish man and human type
Yeah,
of way.
specious.
Because he is a fish man.
Yeah.
You guys
He-
no.
at all?
So
I'll bring up a picture
So
of him real quick.
in One Piece there are mermaids, but there's also mermen. So mermaids are your very traditional looking creatures, but mermen take the physicality of humans and merge them with a sea creature. So Arlong is also known as Sawtooth Arlong.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So he's a human and a sawtooth shark.
His English dub voice actor is terrible, but the Japanese one is very intimidating. And basically, he takes over this island that one of the girls in the Straw Hat crew lives on. And he makes Nami, the girl, go out and rob people of their money to bring back to him and his crew.
She's a master thief and like a god level cartographer.
And he's like, if you bring me back a set amount of money, I'll let you go and I'll let the island free, and then I'll leave. And she eventually hits that mark, and he's like, wait, you really thought I was going to do that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Get the fuck back into the map room and start making more maps. So she basically gets the whole entire crew, her crew, the Straw Hat crew, of all 3 people, to fight him for her. And the battle is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the arc in One Piece that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the series.
It's like the third
it's very
story.
early on. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think my favorite scene in the whole entire series is when she's crying on the ground, and she looks up at him, at Luffy, and says, "Help me!" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I will."
And he gives
and
her
they
his
all
hat.
roll in like a fucking gang and just wreck them.
Okay.
But I think that's like one of the few villains in the whole series so far where it's not like black and white. Like you don't think like, oh, they're bad just because they're bad. Like he has motivations. And I know I said before, like sometimes it's good if they don't, but in this case, it actually really works.
It's like the basis of motivations.
Yeah, because he's just pure. Like he wants money. He's evil, and he's not human. He's racist because he thinks all humans are inferior.
Because they are.
They are, which is why he's got them enslaved. And he's badass.
So, quick tangent. Did you get to Inaru, the Thunder God?
Yeah, I hated Skypiea.
So, fun fact about Inaru, he's based on Eminem.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And one more tangent. So, the first story, like the first big story after the 2-year skip, they fight Hody, who was a great white shark merman and Arlong's superior when he was under Sun Tiger.
Oh shit.
Hody's a fun villain. I liked Hody a lot.
I'm really about to be in the shits now
But-
because I'm in Thriller Bark and that's
Jesus, you're
not
so
good.
far behind. I'm in, like,
I'm reading a color version on my phone though.
Okay.
So that's really nice because manga does not come cheap in color.
no, I don't pay for it.
Piracy.
Huh?
Like actually is piracy.
Yeah.
For a pirate. Fuck.
But God, you're so far behind.
I am. I'm about 400 chapters behind.
No more.
Yeah, One
Well,
Piece is the same.
It's almost hit. I think 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color version's only up to 800 though, and it's a rough translation, but it's,
Oh my
it
God.
works.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I love One Piece, and thankfully somehow
It's the
it-
best shonen manga.
Yeah.
That's not
No,
saying
no.
much though.
I will fight you on that. Hero Academia.
Never
I-
tried
I
it.
will fight.
I feel like that's
That's
another.
stacked on my desk.
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
Different episode. We'll
Yeah.
debate it later.
We'll add that to the list.
So my turn for villains.
That is Casey's turn.
Since I brought up Hero Academia, he was my third, but fuck it, now he's my second.
Topic.
Yeah.
It's topical.
Yeah. So there's a villain in My Hero Academia called All for One, and he is super cool because not only does he have an interesting backstory, I just like his physical look because. So to set his backstory, Hero Academia is a world of superheroes. All for One comes to power during the discovery of superpowers, where it wasn't a big thing, where it wasn't as widespread as it is.
Mhm.
And his ability is to take power. He can steal quirks,
I remember you talking about
as
this.
superpowers are called, quirks. He can take them and redistribute them as he sees fit. So in doing this, he accidentally creates the antithesis to his power, One for All, which is given to All Might, who becomes the #1 hero, who eventually defeats him. But in doing so, All Might basically cripples himself and is forced to choose a successor. But that's another thing. All for One is beaten to the point where he doesn't have a face, he has a mouth, but nothing else. So in order to live, he's hooked up to a dozen different apparatuses. Apparati?
Doesn't sound right, but it is.
Yeah. So that's just to keep him alive. So when, like, during his final battle with All Might, he has this crazy Darth Vader-like mask to keep him alive, but this 3-piece suit. So I love the contrast of this mechanical industrial mask with this slick ass suit.
I guess
Yeah.
that would be Interesting.
And then in the larger aspect of the story, he kind of hand raised the person that becomes the main villain for the story in this very paternal fashion, and just kind of nurtures and helps him grow into his own power and into the next leader of villainy in this world. So I think that alone kind of makes him an amazing villain. But for most of the story, he's treated as urban legend and almost fiction, because nobody believes that anybody this powerful or this dangerous could be alive.
Huh.
Because he's lived for, I think at this point, over 100 years, just because of all the quirks he's stolen, so he just
Kind of
keeps
like-
himself alive through all these means.
He's almost immortal. If
Yeah.
You will.
And he does get defeated by All Might during, like, halfway through the current run of the series. But he's still alive, and his name is still kind of uttered as, you know, he can still come back at any time, but for now we need to fill this void desperately.
That's actually really interesting.
That does sound really cool.
I
I've been meaning to check that out, but I haven't really gotten around to it.
I highly recommend Academia, not only because of the world it builds, but because of the way it handles superpowers.
It sounds cool.
Yeah,
I think I saw the first episode, and I got a couple
Yeah.
chuckles out of it.
I've well,
Really well.
all the characters are great, but I've only just discovered my favorite one.
Yeah, so it almost seems like it's a gift, these quirks.
No, not quite. For a quirk, he very much explains there are limitations.
Yeah.
You can't overdo it. You need to train it. I would not say gift. I would say it's because at this point in the story, 80% of the population has a quirk.
Okay.
So everybody has some kind of power. So you have to know how to use it.
Could you say it's similar to the magic system in The Magicians?
Absolutely.
Since everyone does have access to it in one way or the other,
No.
but only certain people are able to harness it and use it.
No, because not everybody has access to it.
Okay.
80% of people are born with it, yes.
Okay.
But, like, the main character gets his quirk from All Might. Or, you know, One for All could give a quirk. Not everybody has access.
Okay.
But there, like, yes, but in the aspect that there are limitations, and you have to know how it works, how the
Right.
rules of it are. Yeah.
Like the stars aligning a certain way, stuff like.
Well, more so, you could tear your body apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fun.
because there's one character who has two quirks, which is unusual. Half of his body can generate ice, the other half can generate fire. And the two have to work in tandem. Otherwise, he could overheat or he could freeze himself out.
I would suck at that.
Yeah.
I would always
Yeah, the
forget
way
I had
you
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I fart, you never really know if you're gonna...
Fire's gonna be spitting out, or you're gonna be shooting.
You
ice.
were obsessed with my farts.
Well, it's because your name's Fart, right?
That's true.
Now it is, yeah, fart.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
But yeah, all for one. Great villain.
We'll have to pick it up. My turn.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have a third.
I have 4.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah, I guess I'll go for the more long-winded one. So back on the subject of Harry Potter. Dumbledore. Hear me out.
Explain.
I put the word grooming at least 7 times here.
I agree now. I just needed one word, and I completely agree with
Yeah.
you.
From what I've seen in the movies, yes.
Yeah, he is a master manipulator.
He's a dickhead.
Yeah, he raised Harry basically as a pig for slaughter. His intentions were for Harry. Once he figured out he was a Horcrux, he needed Harry to die at the hands of Voldemort, and that's all he set him up for. And for a majority of the films, although he set himself up as kind of like this patriarchal, like a father figure or a mentor, he kept himself very distant to the point where Harry didn't know what the hell was going on 90% of the time. And Harry was, like, insanely lost. And fighting in situations where Dumbledore could have swooped in and just solved it immediately. In some
Especially
cases,
in the 5th one.
Well, hold on. In some cases, where it could have been...
Hold his beer.
Yeah. Where it could have been even more detrimental for the entire school. I'm citing Chamber of Secrets. It was literally killing Muggle boys.
Yes.
Like, this wasn't the first time it happened while Dumbledore was
No.
there.
It's the second time in 60 years.
Well, schools get overcrowded.
Well, yeah, but this was
It's
You speak of
population
population control.
Yeah,
well. That's the reason why Salazar
And technically
Slytherin
they
put
weren't-
it in there.
technically they weren't dead.
They were paralyzed.
They
but
were
then-
just lawn ornaments.
Petrified.
all right, but still, the danger
Point
was there.
stands.
I also put that he basically employed the most abusive professor ever known to man, Snape. Although he,
Oh yeah, the incel.
yeah, he basically verbally abused students and
He was a horrible
bullied
bitch.
them.
Well, to be fair, sometimes students need him.
Yes,
He
but
was
when-
like a cool version of Nutters.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Because he was cool.
But was Nutters
Not like if I were his student, I wouldn't think that. But like from the outside looking in, he was pretty cool. He was cool.
But was he hitting on anyone's dead mother and then hating on you because you're related to
Nutters would absolutely do that.
James?
If
Like-
my mother died and he was in love with her, he would hate the fuck out of me. He would.
And
He would,
really,
and then he would hate fuck your mother.
Exactly.
It was Snape's
Sad
fault.
about it 'cause he's weird.
It was Snape's fault they even died in the first place. And Dumbledore knew all this happened, and he still allowed Snape a second chance.
Yeah, Dumbledore grinds my gears.
And I'm not even done yet. I really went ham on this because in the books it's definitely alluded to his relationship with Grindelwald and the pursuit for power and the Deathly Hallows. That was like a big thing, and that's the reason why he picked Harry, because he didn't pursue power like Dumbledore did.
Right.
But now Dumbledore is just pursuing power through other people. Because now that the movies are out, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Dumbledore basically openly says this and says that I'm picking you because I can't do it myself. So he's using, what's his name?
Newt.
Newt. I'm terrible with names. But he's using Newt in pursuit of...
Newt in pursuit.
I don't know why they didn't use that. That'd
Right.
be a great tagline. But he's using Newt to take down his own enemy, Grindelwald. This is Dumbledore's battle, and he's too much of a little bitch to go up against
Well,
Grindelwald.
There's also the effect of the curse, where they can't
Yeah,
do
the
each
blood
other any
pact.
harm.
Now we know that, but in the books we didn't. You know, like why? Like it took him all this time to even think about going after the blood pact and trying to figure out how to dismantle it. And Grindelwald has been doing all this crap across London and Europe, killing people and destroying things when Dumbledore could have been trying to set this in motion years ahead. And he just kind of let this happen because he had this thing for him. He was basically like Wizard Hitler's
Oh,
little
that's
bitch.
right. They were like gay friends, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
I forgot about that.
And this all resulted in the death of his sister and then the eventual split up of the Dumbledore family. So, I mean, like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, using other people as pawns
Tip of the wand.
for your own pursuit of power, or at least the stability of power, no matter, you know, how good your intentions are, using other people to do your bidding isn't that great.
It's something you don't really think about until somebody like says it that way.
Yeah.
All things considered, though, the fight with him and Voldemort in the fifth one was badass.
Yeah, and I'm only hoping that the Grindelwald Dumbledore fight in the fifth movie is going to
It's gonna be a lot of CGI, but worth it.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Hopefully, like that's what this entire
Because
series
that
is built
Ray
up for.
Fiennes, incredible as Voldemort. Even though he's not that great of a villain, he still pulled it off really well.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I don't know if I doubt. Is anyone going to be bringing up Voldemort as a
No.
villain?
No.
He wasn't that great of a villain.
He really wasn't. He was just evil.
Yeah.
He was a great catalyst for other
Yeah,
villains.
yeah.
Like Bellatrix, Umbridge,
Exactly.
who wasn't directly related to Voldemort.
She was a huge bitch.
She was just a bitch, but she was. She stayed in control underneath Voldemort's regime in the Ministry of Magic.
Maybe that was the point.
Yeah,
Like maybe
I
he
mean-
was intentionally not a good villain.
I mean,
Because in
yeah,
the books, he dies like immediately when he
Yeah.
comes face to face with Harry.
once
That
all
was
this
so
Horcruxes are
anticlimactic. Yeah, I mean,
destroyed. He was kind of like the personification of evil.
but honest to God, Order of the
corrupt.
Phoenix, the fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort is one of my favorite fight scenes of all time. It was so well done.
Yeah, book and
Choreographed to perfection.
movie.
Yeah.
Both amazing. It's unfortunate that the original Dumbledore probably wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
And that's
So it's good in the long run.
yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate in the long
Yeah.
run that he passed away.
No, yeah,
But-
it's not good that he died.
I mean, like, but we got a physically capable Dumbledore.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I
capable.
debatably I thought he was a better Dumbledore anyway.
I felt like he did.
They both had their strengths. I feel like the first Dumbledore was better as like a sit down and talk Dumbledore, and the
Yeah.
other one was better for like everything else.
But yeah, that's my piece on Dumbledore. He's not a bad guy, but he certainly wasn't that great.
Yeah, some of his actions can be.
Construed as
Yeah.
child fucking grooming.
Yeah.
Don't talk about my cats like that, Pat.
All I said was such a soft pussy. That's all I said. And it's not a lie. It's the truth.
Alright.
Alright. So Abby, your turn.
Don't insult my cats.
It's not an insult. It's soft.
I want to talk about Negan, but not show Negan. Not the TV show Negan, but
It's my sister's dog's name.
the graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Negan.
But he's a sweetheart.
Just because I feel like the show doesn't do him justice. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan, but I feel like because it's on TV, they have limitations on what they can do with the character. Like in the comic books, literally every other word out of his mouth is a curse word.
Yeah.
And I just think that's great. Like it's his character. It's a part of him.
Fuck you.
Did we hit our quota for the episode?
Well, Pat dropping the P word, might have pushed it over. Yeah, you said it again. That's not a nice word. It's an ugly word.
It's not the C word.
That's true.
Okay. Abby?
But anyway, I feel like right off the gate we're introduced to him and he kills off one of the major characters. Sorry. And it's funny because everyone like he's construed as a really bad guy, but in reality, like he has motivations behind it. Like if Rick hadn't had messed with him first, he wouldn't have killed Glenn. It's because he fucked with him first. But I don't know, overall, just his character arc, and I'm gonna put a spoiler warning. He ends up killing the next big bad by cutting off her head. And I'm very interested to see if the show is gonna go the same way.
Bingo.
Yep.
Okay.
Alpha.
Alpha.
Betas.
Yeah.
It's after Alpha.
I'm not familiar with any of it. I checked out after season 3, and I don't know what issue is about it.
Yeah, I checked in around Negan. But, I think he was the most interesting part of the TV show.
He
No,
is.
that seems fair.
I was honestly rooting for him. I was like, yeah, fuck
Yeah,
Negan.
he's like basically he's one of the villains that you actually do kind of want to root for, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good villain. You kind of sympathize with him a little bit. You're like, I get it. You're
Yeah.
just like Rick, but with a bat.
Once
a bigger head.
once you
In
get
2
to
hands.
Rip.
Does Rick have both hands in the show still?
Yes.
well, he's not even in the show
He's
anymore.
gone on the show.
Yeah, he's in a movie now.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's
right.
gonna be
He,
in the
he got
movies.
picked up by a helicopter.
Yeah,
That's right. I forgot about that.
yeah. I just feel like the show is like it's differentiating
Yeah, that's right.
a lot from the comics, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I feel like it's not even gonna be the same anymore,
No.
like at all.
I really want to know where they're both going to go.
You could play a good Negan. Yeah, possibly. Get you up in a cosplay, Pat.
There's a guy at Holy Family that does a really good Negan cosplay.
Abby has one.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
Pretty decent. Very highly spoken.
Yeah, I just think once you like realize his backstory and that basically his Bat Lucille is basically his wife. Like that's who he he personifies his wife into the bat. and he ends up breaking it at some point and he buries it. And it's like a whole thing.
Is he more sympathetic than the governor, who kept his zombie
Oh,
daughter?
yeah.
Okay.
Weird. That
No,
was weird.
the governor is just
Yeah, that
a
was
fucked up
crazy.
person. I mean, Negan's fucked up too, but he's not.
He's
I
fucked
don't
up
think
in a
he's a
relatable way.
psychopathic. He's not
Really?
gonna. He doesn't. He's not gonna keep his dead daughter as a pet.
Yeah, that was weird.
You're assuming it was a pet.
Well, yeah, you don't know what he's doing. Well, I think at one point in the comic, he like. I don't know if it's
He
the
does
comic or
kiss
in
her.
the show. He kisses her, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
slobber.
like,
Yeah,
she ends up
that's right.
biting him, I think.
That came right back to me. As soon
Yeah.
as you said that, I thought about it. I was like, oh, there was a lot of slobber. Yeah, I remember. It's the one comic still I remember
Yeah.
from that series. Why is that the one that I remember?
George R.R. Martin.
Gross.
Yeah.
I'll pass for now. I'll think of one.
All right, we'll
Because
go.
I think I was gonna say the Joker, but there's so many things I could say about that.
I mean,
Piss baby.
I-
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
can jump on top of that too, and I can
sure.
give you a little bit of
I mean,
context.
I think there's a lot of different interpretations of him, so
Yeah.
it's hard to pick one. Obviously, Heath Ledger is the best in the film
Yeah.
medium.
Jinx, you owe me a sub.
Sure.
It's on record now. You got it.
But the comic one,
I will argue that I think Nicholson's a more interesting Joker.
I think he's closer to the comics.
I'm not worried about closer to the comics. I just think he's a more interesting character.
Yeah, I'll
He's got more of a background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Instead of just being, again, using natural disaster as a description that just shows up.
Yeah.
Speaking of natural disaster, I have Anton on here from No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
He's good.
Who's
Yeah.
not really a villain.
Yeah.
He's more of an antagonist.
yes.
He's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's great, and I put down like an
Anton
asterisk.
Chigurh.
I put he's
I have that
like the
book, too.
Joker.
I
Let's
can
talk
see that.
about that instead.
Yeah, he's like the Joker. He's like Heath Ledger's
Yeah.
Joker, where he's just pure chaos.
Mhm.
He's
and
like,
he's relying on
yeah,
chance.
if you mix the Joker and Two-Face, it
Yeah.
would be him.
Yeah.
it's
Because
beautiful.
Woody Harrelson shows up in the film and just
Yeah.
kind of describes him basically as such.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Completely
It's good.
doesn't give a fuck.
I think I have
Yeah,
written
look at his
the release
hairstyle.
for him.
Yeah, that's the creepiest part about him is his hair. Like his voice is
the
voice is
bowl
creepy
cut.
enough. Like his mannerisms is the way he
Yes.
carries himself, but the hair is what gets me.
The bowl cut.
Yeah,
Talk about who played the person you just talked about.
Negan?
Negan, yeah,
Jeffrey Dean
Jeffrey
Morgan.
Dean Morgan.
I always get Jeffrey Dean Morgan and
They look
Javier,
very similar.
mixed up.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, because they have a very similar face.
yeah. One's just much more Spanish.
Like 100%.
Yeah, like 100% more Spanish.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's very much a country boy.
Yeah,
but ironically, this is a country movie.
Yeah,
it's, it's very
yeah.
western. But I love the chaos that he brings about, and that kind of relate back to the Joker like that. In both instances, when he's playing a more gangster role, say in Nicholson case, or the newer one. Well, I won't even mention names.
Can we mention Jared Leto's
they
Joker?
canceled his upcoming movies.
Yeah,
Thank God.
That was a thing.
They're also canceling the Joker and Harley Quinn
yeah,
collaboration movie.
yeah. There's so much hate.
They're taking her out of the new Suicide Squad, right?
If the directors are out there, it's time to bring Willem Dafoe into the mix.
That's all I got.
I agree.
He would be the best Joker.
No, let's
Yes.
not. No,
Second
let's,
best.
let's
Second
let's-
best.
Let's forget the Joker exists for a while.
Yeah, let's give it a rest for a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
give Batman's other villains a time to shine. Like,
Condiment Man.
can we please redo Mr. Freeze for Christ's sake?
Oh,
I
Mr.
agree.
Freeze.
No,
Yes!
I love the Joel Schumacher movies.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, bat nipples and all. Those
The
movies
nipples.
are glorious.
Oh, the nipples that could poke your eye out.
Yes.
Freeze.
Yeah.
No.
Nice to meet you.
Those are ice nipples.
It's a cold day in hell.
Is it cold in here, or are your nipples just happy to see me?
Shut
No.
up.
You fit in with your nipples.
You gotta redo Poison Ivy, too. Because Uma Thurman wasn't
Oh,
too bad. It was just the way the script was
Yeah.
written that was horrible.
I'd
Yeah.
like to
No, the script is amazing.
No, it's not,
It's
Casey. You
such-
think it's amazing because of how bad it
It's
is.
such campy garbage.
That's my point. We
Yeah.
need a very serious...
The fucking Bat Visa.
Oh my
That.
god.
And they have nipples. We
No,
saw that
the
already, but I
Bat
can't
credit
get over
card,
it.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the whoever played Poison Ivy in the Gotham series.
Yes.
She did a great job.
I don't
Which
remember
one?
her.
Because there's been like 3.
Really, whoever
Yes.
played the first one when I stopped watching.
Like the child version.
Yeah, I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we should redo Bane, too, because...
Bane, yeah.
Gotta love Tom Hardy, but that was a horrible, horrible Bane.
That's
Oh,
a horrible
yeah.
movie. Nobody wanted to be in that movie more than Heath Ledger.
No.
Right.
That was that was sweet.
You were merely adopted by the darkness. I was born into it.
I was.
Nobody can hear your
No.
stupid
Nope.
imitation.
I don't care. I was doing it for you.
We apologize for the silent moment. All right, so Casey, who's your villain?
Are you guys done with your Joker talk?
Yeah, it was all a joke.
I think Casey wants to jump out the window.
That's fine.
So the last villain I had was It. Pennywise. Because going back to the paternal aspect, Pennywise has a maternal aspect.
Yeah.
Because as we find out at the end of the movie, or at the end of the book, it is a she. And she's come to Earth not only to feed, but to propagate.
Would you say it's a shit?
My God.
I didn't know it was female
No, I didn't
I
know
didn't
that
know
either.
either.
Yes. I don't care. I don't care about spoiler warnings.
'Cause I
Like,
couldn't-
The book's been around for 30 years. I don't
Yeah.
care about
Oh.
spoilers.
No.
And the TV movie's been around for years too, so it's
Yeah.
whatever.
But they don't even play on that.
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It lays eggs, and they smash the eggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of those books that I constantly return to. Oddly enough, I try to read it like every summer because it's like to me, it's like the perfect summer
Yeah,
book.
it is.
It takes place in the summer, so it lines up. But it's like, despite the fact that yes, it's maternal, and yes, it's kind of it's almost an afterthought that it's trying to like propagate and breed. It's still very much an evil creature. It's
Yeah.
here to eat and feed and prey, which I think is just, it's primal, it's basic, and it's a good enough motivation to me. Because it's almost like Predator. Because at the end of the day, what is the Predator here for? To play a game, to hunt. That's
The
it.
greatest game.
The best game, the most
dangerous.
beefy, muscular
The most-
game.
We keep
Would you
coming
say it's
back
the
to
most
that.
dangerous?
The most dangerous game is a human being.
But absolutely, Pennywise is a terrific villain just
Yeah.
because of the forms it takes, the way it plays with people, and it's still not dead.
No,
No,
it's alive.
it shows up in so many of other King's works. It even shows up in Joe Hill's work once or twice.
Yeah, the hills are not the hills. The kings, I guess you could say, are very self-referential. They keep pulling things back. I know that's the entire Dark Tower series. It's just a
Oh my god!
bunch of references that
What
from
is-
different literary things. So I think a golden snitch ends up in there. At some point.
Oh boy! So do we want to go into that? Because I could talk about the Dark Tower all day.
Isn't
We should definitely jump into that in another
I
episode.
have the whole Dark Tower series.
I need to
isn't
read
Stephen
that.
King's whole like his collected works? Isn't all of that connected somehow?
In the Dark Tower.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yes,
just the Dark
Yes.
Tower. Okay.
Yeah,
that's it. Well, no, but
the
even-
Dark Tower is like the spine.
Yeah, but even through that, not so it's less the spine and more the central nervous system. That it's the focus point.
Because what's that Hulu show?
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. Isn't Derry in
Yes.
that series?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it's like
Derry shows up also in Dreamcatcher. It shows up in Hearts in Atlantis, and something else.
he's just got like this whole fictionalized county.
Yeah,
and
it
he's-
spreads
yeah.
out like there's bits and pieces.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
He
Stephen
also
King.
lived in a dairy, didn't he?
No, Derry's fictional.
Derry's
Well, I'm
completely.
saying like a dairy-like town.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Derry is just basically just Maine.
Yeah.
It's like Shermer, Illinois, in a John Hughes movie. There is no Shermer, Illinois.
Yeah.
It's all fiction. But Stephen King even shows up in the Dark Tower.
oh, so
Do you
bad.
remember years ago when he was run over by a car? Like when he was just like out walking one day.
Like Stephen
yeah, I
King?
think I remember.
No.
So he was just out on a stroll and he got run over by a van. And he was in a coma for a while.
Jesus.
And that's where, as he claims, the characters of the Dark Tower came to him and like spoke to him. So he included
So weird.
yeah, he included himself in I think the last 2 books. Yes.
I'm related to him by marriage, allegedly.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Very distantly, but.
I'm related to Robin Hood.
Maybe Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Or not like the Robin Hood, but there is a Robin of Locksley in my family tree.
That's pretty cool.
My mom's a Dobbist, so I have no idea who I'm related to. I mean, we figured out her side of the family, but I mean, we have no idea.
Yeah.
I just found out I'm Scandinavian, so.
Oh, shit.
The part.
Yeah, was that the large part?
Large
I'm
part.
like a quarter Pole, and like another quarter Scandi. So I'm like a 50% Eastern European.
Yeah, because my family did that, and that was all we were. We were just like Irish and
I'm
European.
very white.
I'm as white as it gets.
Yeah,
Join the club.
yeah, like all the countries that have drinking problems. That's me.
I don't go outside. It's too cold.
So you're Transylvanian.
I did not say blah 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 blah. Another great villain, by the way.
Dracula.
Dracula. Amazing.
I wouldn't call him a villain.
I would say he's the villain.
He's just a sad boy. trying
In
to
the
get
Van
himself-
Helsing movie, he was definitely the villain.
Yeah.
He was good in that.
I like that movie.
Huh?
I like that movie.
It's a good movie.
So would you say he's more
it's
of a problem?
It's a guilty pleasure.
He's definitely he's
He's-
more of a foil
He's like a sex pest.
than an actual.
Sex fest.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
He's like a sex pest.
So
I think
so. Crap.
the scene that freaked me out the most in that whole entire book
Mm.
was when the women are over John and they're about to eat him, and then Dracula comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Stop! He belongs to me."
Wait until you see that scene, but with Keanu Reeves.
I can't take it serious. Like in my mind, I'm picturing it and I'm like, "That's creepy as shit." But if I watch that movie
And not like,
I see
not
that
like
scene,
good Keanu Reeves, not John Wick Keanu Reeves. Bill and Ted.
Oh wow.
yeah, that's like that level of Keanu Reeves is
Mhm.
in that movie. He's bad in that movie. But
And
the
what's
rest
it
of it's
called?
really good, Dracula.
It's just
It's-
Dracula.
It's Francis Ford Coppola's
Yeah.
Dracula.
All right, I'll have to
Like
look it up.
it has amazing production value,
Mhm.
and Gary Oldman and Anthony Hopkins are astounding.
Yes.
But everything else is basically dog shit.
Also, the way they made Gary Oldman look in that movie is weird, but he plays a great part.
Oh yeah. Well, when you like human Dracula is weird, but when they show Bat Dracula, the makeup is amazing.
It's like nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I feel like we can talk about horror movies in another
Absolutely.
easily
We could. I have many that I can recommend.
in your library of Casey.
So many.
Gestures around the room.
I have a few movies.
Just a few,
He's got a few. Well, he's not wrong. He has at least 3.
at least. Maybe if we ever figure out how to live stream, Casey will straighten up his room enough that we can do it in here.
I think all things considered, it looks pretty straight with all the
No,
stuff
it's
in
it's
it.
very much organized
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you guys want to see us do a live stream of this? Talk about it, maybe on Twitch? Let us know in the comments below.
Please comment.
Wherever you watch this. If you watch this on YouTube, definitely let us know.
Especially you, Richard Boone.
Calling you out.
We adore your comments.
I'm not going to tell you to keep them coming because they might, deter you. But keep them coming,
Yeah, keep them coming.
please. We live off your comments.
There is no
And
us without
Jankum.
you, Richard.
Yes.
We live off your comments and Jankum.
And Jankum. I am an avid supporter
He-
of Jankum.
he-
I love it.
Pat leaks Jankum on a regular basis.
It's my middle name.
Clark Jenkum.
Poo poo butter.
Pat Jankum Murphy.
I had to
Alright.
look it up. I had to look up what Jankum was, but now that I know what it is, I can honestly say that I partake.
Alright, on that note, thanks for listening, you guys. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Spotify, iTunes.
iTunes.
Yes.
Castbox, because that's where we originated.
Rock the
We might
Castbox.
sort of keep going there, too, right? But keep an eye out. We might be doing a live stream or something like that on Twitch. We're on Twitch, too, under Struggle City.